Sorry about that.
Are we here?
My lens slipped. You're here. Well, that was a smooth intro.
That was great.
Say hi to Gary, Marilyn, and Mel.
Hi, Gary, Marilyn, and Mel.
And John Zipper.
And John Zipper, you made it at the beginning this time. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Welcome to Sunday Morning Live. I'm John M. Here now, a song. 6:30 this morning, I woke up alone. Where were you? You seemed so far away, though you slept in a neighboring room. But you could have woke up in my arms. You could have had love. You could have been warm. It could have been good. I wanted it too. I'm waiting for you. Affairs of the heart sometimes can be hard to define. You can't always decipher an affair of the heart with the mind. In an unlikely moment it comes, it touches you once and you run. And despite what you see, you refuse to believe that it's true. I'm waiting for you. Oh, can't you see how good it could be? Or is it just me? I wonder sometimes if I shouldn't just leave you alone. Then maybe you'll realize how good it was when it's gone. But I couldn't do that if I tried. If I told you I could, then I lied. I love you too much, and there's just nothing else I can do. I'm waiting for you. That was Waiting for You. Thank you, Bill. That was Waiting for You from my very first album, A Taste of Things to Come. I am here this morning with our special guest this week, Bill Berry, singer, songwriter, actor, a multi-talented individual, and we've crossed paths a number of times over the past few years. Last time I saw you was at a Christmas show in December where we both played.
Great show.
And like me, I know you to be a bit of a rocker a lot of the time. I deliberately did a mellower ballad to start off because I know we're going to be doing some different things coming up.
Yeah,
but you let's just dive right into it.
Okay.
You're how long have you been doing music?
Gosh, I think my first performance was in 4th grade at a talent show where I did "Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together."
Trying to
love one another right now. Yeah. That was my first.
Great.
And been doing it since, and kind of seriously, I don't know, since my 20s or so. And so that would be one of the years now. But yeah, it's been doing it all my life.
And
You want to say hi to some people?
sure.
Oh,
Neil Rosengarten
Hey, Neil. Good to see you.
Neil.
and Lisa O'Kane.
Hi, Lisa. Glad you
Lisa.
could make it again.
And too many people that have scrolled by, but lots of people watching.
Great.
Well, thanks for tuning in to every last one of you. So I know you obviously you write songs, you sing, you play guitar.
I do.
You act. Do you play other instruments besides guitar?
I played bass for many, many years. I'm okay bass player if needed. I'm a last call bass player, as they say. Drums as well, little keyboard, but I'm mostly a guitar player.
Yeah. Okay. And so right now, skipping to the present, you have this special project, The Brick.
Yeah,
That it's called.
The Brick. It's a one-man musical.
Would
Yeah.
you like to show your sign?
Well, let me show this first.
Okay.
My postcard. How's that look? Fancy, huh?
That is very nice.
Isn't that lovely? That's me.
So, but you were starting to tell us about your. It's the story of one man's.
Dealing with a ghost from his past, and I mean,
I assume, portray the one man.
I'm portraying the one man, and it's actually a very personal story. It came about. I was sort of trying to figure out a way to present songs in a different way, rather than folk clubs and there's a lot of great folk clubs here in Los Angeles and around the Southern California that people play, but I kind of wanted to find something different. It felt very samey to me after a while, and I had the opportunity to play in an audition, and some of the actors at this audition were saying, your songs are all you tell stories with your songs, and maybe you can put them all together and do a one-man play at the Fringe Festival. And so I thought, okay, I'll do that. Gauntlet thrown. And I came up with a bunch of different ways to do it, and but a couple of them really, I'm very lucky to be, and as are you, in groups of songwriters and writers that really know their craft, and they were able to really sort of help me hone the story, the way it was written, what was really hitting home. And so I did that, and we were very successful at last year's Hollywood Fringe, and I did a 55-minute version there, and a lot of folks, Zipperer, you were there, really appreciate it, came by to see that, and we won an award, and then it was recommended that I make it an 85-minute show, a full evening show, to be able to possibly tour it. And I thought, okay, let's try that. And so I added a couple more songs, added some more story, really changed the focus of the show from talking about addiction and stuff to really, it's kind of the ripple effect of war on generations of people, which is really the overall writing theme. I mean, there's a lot of humor in it, but there's a lot of serious stuff in it. And we brought it to the Santa Monica Playhouse for a one-night festival, and that was a huge success. Tom Hubbard and Peggy Glenn, a lot of our friends came by to support that. And now I'm bringing it to the Solo Fest at the Whitefire Theater. It's over in Sherman Oaks, and they're having a big festival of single-person shows, solo shows, throughout this month and throughout February. And on February 1st, Thursday night, I'll be presenting The Brick there.
Let's have you do a song.
All right. Well, this is a song. It's sort of a fable, you might say, for the new millennium. Two crows sitting on a barbed wire fence. Old one says, I see Farmer John. I like to get some corn, but it don't make no sense. Not while he's out watching the farm. Young crow says, man, you should get your eyes checked. That's a scarecrow out there in the corn. I ain't afraid of old Farmer John's tricks. I knowed about the scarecrow since the day I was born. And he said, ooh, and it don't scare me. He said, ooh, said it don't scare me. Ooh, no, it don't scare me. It don't scare me at all. Two crows sitting on a barbed wire fence. Old one says, is that so? Well, it looks to me like he's been moving around. I don't believe it's a reasonable time to go. Young crow says, man, you must be blind. That's the wind blowing those raggedy old clothes. I got a taste of sweet corn that's heavy on my mind. If you're afraid of a scarecrow, you can just starve, I suppose. And he said, ooh, and it don't scare me. Help me with who's? Ooh, said it don't scare me. Ooh, no, it don't scare me. It don't scare me at all. Young crow says, I'll race you. Old crow, he said no. Young crow looked him right in the eye and said, 1, 2, 3, go. Before the old crow knew it, young crow began to fly. And then blam, blam, blam come the buckshot. Young crow fall from the sky. One crow sitting on a barbed wire fence, watching the feathers fall. He picks at some ticks and ruffles his wings and says, guess it was the farmer after all. Old crow, he's seen Farmer John around, starts work each day at early morn, but he always goes inside when the sun comes down. And that's when old crows get their fill of sweet, sweet corn. And he said, ooh, no, it don't scare me. He said, ooh, oh, it don't scare me. Ooh, said it don't scare me. He don't scare me at all.
Wow.
Yeah, all right.
That's very cool.
Two crows. That's from the show.
So for this show, did you, multiple choice question.
Okay.
Did you, A, just take a bunch of songs that you already had for a while that you've been playing and work them into the show, or B, write new songs for the show, or C, a little of both?
Good question. A, that was sort of the point of the show. It's like, how do I get all these songs that are really popular and people like them out there to more people, to get other people to like them? Now, I could go to the folk clubs and keep churning away, and I thought, well, let's put these, how do they fit? And I write a lot of story songs, and a lot of my songs are stories from my life. Now, Two Crows is more of sort of a metaphor and a fable, you know, but a lot of my songs are stories of my life. So I was like, how can I tell these songs in a structure that will help propel the story? And so that was the goal, though, was to put all the songs in a cohesive unit. Yeah. And I wasn't able to use all my songs. I put out an album a couple years ago called Awkward Stage, and that had a nice 10-song set on there. But a bunch of those songs just didn't fit. They were they didn't seem to fit in the squares that I needed. The round pegs didn't fit. So I pulled some other songs from other eras.
I imagine it's a little bit like, this is a bit of a stretch, but a little bit like sequencing an album. The songs don't have to be about the same topic. They don't have to be musically similar, but they need to have some kind of connection with each other.
Yeah, well, the dialogue in between follows a line, and so the songs had to fit in those. And there was also a case of the arc, humorous songs as well as an arc of the story. So it's like I have a lot of funny songs, but then I have some more serious songs. So I didn't want to have all the funny songs clumped together, that kind of thing. So there was quite a bit of that, playing it for groups of people, getting feedback, going home, ripping pages out, writing anew. Let's try it this way. And through trial and error, really, I got something that worked cohesively. And then same thing happened when I added another 30 minutes. That was 2 songs, but it was also another 20 minutes of dialogue and story. Right. And so it's like, where did that? You can't just put it right here. You had to put a little there and a little here and a little here and which little and where. And again, there were like another half dozen songs. Well, we could use this. We could use that. We could use this. And so, again, thank God for being in this community of songwriters and writers and playwrights and being able to bring everybody together, people that helped me out on this. Well, I first have to say, Kelly DeSarla, who's a local actress, was the director, and she's been with me through the whole thing and has really helped me put this thing together and told me unabashedly, no, this sucks, do that instead. And I'm not used to sort of accepting other people's direction, but I just kind of said, you know what? This is different. I will completely do whatever you say. I had to feel safe putting myself in her hands. And I did, and I'm very glad I did. But there was so many people that chipped in. Craig Lincoln was there at the beginning and helping with that, and Tracy Newman and Cynthia Carl and so many people that
great people,
and
all people with theatrical knowledge.
Yeah, they know they know their theater, they know their songwriting, they know their storyline, what is needed, and they just have good taste, and so they were all there along the way at different readings and those sorts of things. It's a long process.
I know you're the only actor.
Yeah.
You're the only person on stage. Are you also the only instrumentalist, or are there other? Okay.
No. It's
all you.
It's a solo show.
Right.
It's absolutely a solo show. Now, the conceit is that so many solo shows, and I don't know if you go to theater much, but there's solo shows where they sort of talk to the audience like, well, when I was born, blah, 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 and they're talking to the audience. And I kind of didn't want to do that. It was like, how can I not do the regular thing? And so we found this conceit where I am talking to another person or entity away, so the audience, like any sort of theater show, gets to sort of watch as I am conducting, discussion with someone else, rather than me talking to them directly. And I really like that. I think that was something different.
Yeah.
I always like to do a little something different.
You sing and you also act, and you've been doing. I get the impression you've been doing both for a while.
No, I'm not an actor.
Okay.
In high school. But I pretty much have been a singer and guitar player and a musician and a songwriter all that time. I did do some acting. I did improv comedy. When I lived in New Orleans, I was in an improv. I made my living doing improv comedy, of all things. And so that would be the acting that I did, which I can't recommend taking an improv class enough to people who are songwriters. It allowed me sort of the freedom just to kind of free write, because I had to come up with lots of music and songs on the spot during those. I was the guitar player and we did songs. So that was my acting, though.
Do you I have always felt that acting and singing are closely related. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think everyone takes it differently. There's an honesty to singing that I think needs to come through. Now, you have to be honest as an actor as well, and it has to be organic and coming from yourself. But as an actor, you also have to hit marks and say things at a certain time and those sorts of things. And there's a script where Now with singing a 3-minute song, there's a script, right? There's the lyrics, but that's different from doing an 85-minute song, say, But I think there are certain things that are very much alike, and it really comes down to honesty and being able to present yourself, your song, your show honestly, that's such a multifaceted word, honestly, isn't it?
Well, I've heard this. If this isn't what you're getting at, correct me. But I have a feeling it's kind of in the same ballpark. I've heard many actors and singers. I used to watch on TV. I used to watch the Actors Studio with David Lipton, I think is
Right.
And virtually every famous actor that ever came on his show said it's about being fearless. It's about being willing to let people see sides of you that might not be comfortable, and being willing to fail, being willing to make mistakes, and just put it out there, and whatever happens. And that's not an easy thing for most people to do, even if they have the support of a lot of other actors and a crew and all that. And so I would think you're kind of, you're out there without a net, just you, yourself, and you.
Right. Well,
and
for me, the fearlessness came in the writing and telling things like there's something in the show that kind of comes right at the top that I had never told anybody, a very sort of personal thing that I had never told anyone in my life except my wife. And I put that in the show, and she looked at me and said, "Are you sure you want to do that?"
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, let's get it all out there, It's all grist for the mill. It's all stuff.
See, that's
stuff for the show.
That more as much as anything else you've said makes me want to go see the show.
Oh, great.
Because that's that kind of personal putting it out there is what I mean. That's what excites me about any performance, musical or singer songwriter or whatever. When I know that somebody is putting something out there that's real, to them, that means something to me. That's very cool.
Very good. Thank you.
Bill, why don't you give us one more?
Okay, sure.
And then you and I will finish up with a couple.
Okay,
songs.
that sounds good. Now, when I was saying I lived in New Orleans, I told you about that. Yes. And this is a true story that happened then. I got into radio. I was a blues DJ on WWOZ, if anyone out there knows New Orleans. WWOZ is a local station, and I was a blues DJ, and you gotta have a low voice to be on the radio. Real low. Cockfighting was still legal in Louisiana back when I lived there. But it was frowned upon in polite society. It wasn't anything you ever considered attending, really. But I'm here to tell you that a cockfight saved my life. Tickfa, Louisiana is a little bit of town about an hour out of New Orleans. Not much there but the family prayer before every plate of rice and beans. I had a couple of friends who were going to attend an extraordinary kind of show. They were going to a cockfight in Tickfa, and they asked me, did I want to go? I said, I don't know. Well, I usually am a compassionate man, don't like to see any animal harmed. But I'm also not shy when there's something new to try, although I might be alarmed. What's the atmosphere? Smell? Where is it held? Curiosity got under my skin. Did I want to see a cockfight in Tickfa? Well, maybe not, but count me in. Well, 6 months before this, I'd met a young miss. All in all, things were going pretty well. If push came to shove, I'd say that we were in love. Her feelings were harder to tell. But we had both made the promise to always be honest. And I was going to put that to the test and tell her about the cockfight in Tickfa. It was a dicey proposition at best. Well, I pulled up to her place, put a smile on my face. I was trying to keep my poise. I said, if we're not busy tonight, I thought that I might go out with some of the boys. She said, oh, where you gonna go? A little place you don't know, an hour north of here, more or less. Are you going to a cockfight in Tickfa? I said, well, I might be. Yes. That was a pretty good guess. She really blew her fuse. That's animal abuse. I tried to think of something smart to say. Ernest Hemingway writes about going to bullfights. Yeah, well, you're no Ernest Hemingway. I said, fine, let's forget it. Forget I ever said it. Argument over. You won. I won't go to a cockfight in Tikva. But it was too late. The damage was done. She was judge and jury and unleashed her fury for a crime I didn't even commit. I was heartless and cruel. How could she be such a fool? I had to get out of there, lickety-split. As I turned to flee, she threw a book at me. And take Hemingway with you, too. Go to your cockfight in Tikva. By then, it was the only thing left to do. There was screeching and crying, and feathers were flying. It's a nightmare that stays with me yet. I never did see that cockfight, but that woman could sure get upset. And if you ask me, the truth will set you free. We might have been man and wife if it wasn't for that cockfight in Tikva. A cockfight in Tikva. If it wasn't for that cockfight in Tikva, I would have been henpecked for the rest of my life.
Awesome.
True story, true story.
That's great.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
What's
Not
that? No,
only
it's
is it a
true.
great story, but it's a really well written song. Really well
thank
crafted.
you. Thank you very much.
I really appreciate it.
I'm really proud of that song. That song took a couple of years. I had full versions of it. And then I just it just wasn't working. I cut away at it. And again, just having people kind of saying, this works, that doesn't work, really helps.
Cool.
So you got quite a bit of material, I do believe. You know, I love that you play a 12-string. Every time I see you play or see you pull out the 12-string, it reminds me of Blind Willie McTell, who's such a great blues player, but he always played a 12-string. And there's this full sound to his playing and to yours that
Oh, thank you.
makes you different from anyone else on the scene. I think it's fantastic.
Oh man, thank you. That's considering how much you know about the local scene, that's saying a bit.
Well,
I should mention that we've been focusing on your play, and your music, of course, and as well we should. But we're starting to run short on time, and I want to mention before we go that you also, as a lot of people who know you have your Songwriter Square and your newsletter and
right.
And
Songwriter Square is
quick
a
shout-out for that.
showcase, and I really appreciate that. We haven't done that for over a year. We lost our venue, and it's not happening right now.
Right.
If it's on hiatus, it's a long ass hiatus. I'll tell you that.
But you do still have the newsletter.
We do. We send out the Songwriter Square newsletter once a month, which talks about local happenings and local performers, and talks about my shows, but also everybody else's shows. I have a gig guide in there. If you're interested in that, please just go to my Facebook page at Bill Berry and send me a message, or you can find it on Facebook and
that's
sign
Berry,
up for it.
Berry, like
strawberry. Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, Jillian put your website up there too.
Thanks, Jillian. Jillian's my lovely wife. I love you, my babe. And
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi.
Thanks for bringing that up. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for the nice write-up about the show on your newsletter.
Well, I think it means a lot that you guys are doing this, and that you are sticking with it once a week. It's not easy to do that. I know, having done Songwriter Square, it's like, all right, every month, and you guys do it every week. But but it's important for us, I think, all to keep supporting each other. Keep lifting each other up.
Well, it's been a great ride for us, and it's been a lot of fun for me, getting to... Well, when we started doing it, it was just me. It was just, Sunday Morning Live with John M. and I, Me, Mine. And after a while, we thought, kind of like you, well, how do I keep this fresh? Well, you got to get some other people involved in this. And so more than not, lately, we've been having guests. I still, every once in a while, I'll still do one solo, but we try to... more often than not, try to have somebody else on and get some different perspectives and some different music, and it's been a lot of fun for me getting to to hang with people like you and hear
That's
some of your
great.
songs and jam with people and stuff. We had talked about doing a couple songs, but we're already running long, so I think we should probably just do one.
Let's end up. Sure, which one you want to do?
So I'd like to do School Bus Blues.
Let's do it.
If you're into it.
Yeah.
This is another one of my older songs. That first song I did at the top of the show, Waiting for You, was from my very first album, as I said, which is called A Taste of Things to Come. This song first appeared on that record, and then it was it's also on my live record, No Overdubs, and it's a song about some fictitious guy who had dreams of just doing nothing but playing music, but he had to do something to pay the bills, and so he got himself a job driving a school bus. And
There you go.
any similarity to any person's living or dead is purely coincidental. And Bill, thank you so much for joining
Thank you,
me
John.
and for doing this with
Thank
me.
you, Hillary.
We'll be back to
welcome.
say
Thank
goodbye
you.
after this. This
Okay.
is with a little help from Bill Berry. This is School Bus Blues. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, take 'em. He was a rock and roll singer in need of a few bucks. Hey, lordy, lordy, na na na. He was seen one day behind the wheel of a school bus. Hey, lordy, lordy, na na na. It wasn't me he tried to say. I'm the one who saw that day. I don't do nothing but play. I'm a rock and roller. He was a rebel in the world of rock and roll dreams. He wasn't living beyond his means. He had a Taylor guitar, $50 car, and holes in his jeans. You know he couldn't buy the food and he couldn't pay the rent. Couldn't keep track of where the money went. But he vowed one day to come home in a limousine. Yeah, he was a rock and roll singer in need of a few bucks. Hey, lordy, lordy, na na. Yeah, he was seen one day behind the wheel of a school bus. Hey, lordy, lordy, hey, lordy, lordy, now. It wasn't me he tried to say. The one saw that day. I don't do nothing but play. I'm a rock and roller. Yeah. He was hard and cool. He was a hard-working fool, dedicated to his dream. Made up his mind to make him stand in line, make the women scream. Woo! He had a picture of a who on his bedroom wall, a picture that he drew in a Les Paul, and he was bound and determined to be bigger than Jimmy Dean. He was a rock and roll singer in need of a few bucks. Hey, lordy, lordy, na na na. He was seen one day behind the wheel of a school bus. Hey, lordy, lordy, na 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 na. Wasn't me he tried to say. Saw that day. I don't do nothing but play. I'm a rock and roller. Yeah. Well, his friends and those who loved him said, good luck, we wish you well. Ah, but what you gonna do if you never do make it? They said, prepare yourself for something else to do in case you fail. They said, we all dream, but we all awaken. Well, he swallowed his pride, took it in stride, and he paid his dues. And before too long, he had a rock and roll song that was making news. He wrote it one morning before the noon run. Became a sensation, making number one. And he was known all over as a singer of the school bus blues. Yeah. He was a rock and roll singer in need of a few bucks. Perfect. That was fun.
Wow, that's a rockin' little jaunty song, isn't it, John?
The Brick, the title.
Yes.
Is there significance to that?
There's a song in the show called The Brick.
Ah.
And there is a significance that is also a surprising thing that happens during the show that you must go see. Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yes, thank you.
Cool.
What a pleasure.
Right. Yeah, a pleasure for me too. Thank you, one and all, for joining us. Those of you that I've said hello to and good morning, and those of you that I have not. We will be back next week. We will be. Hillary and I will be back from the NAMM.
Well, no, we will be at the NAMM show, and
that's what I was trying to say.
possibly.
Are you going to do a live show from NAMM?
Yes, we are.
I believe we
Oh,
are.
super cool.
So
Go Vikings.
yeah.
That.
So we'll see you next week, next Sunday, from the NAMM show in Anaheim. What is the NAMM show, you ask? We'll tell you next week. Thank you for joining us this morning. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. And most especially, thank you for sharing, those of you who are so inclined to do so. We appreciate it. Thank you to my special guest, Bill Berry.
Thank you.
My
Bill.
pleasure. Good to see you all.
Hillary, any parting comments?
Yes, thank you all for coming, and have a great week, and we'll see you next week from NAMM.
Thanks. Ciao for now.
Wish it would turn off.